Yes, good morning to all. Today we discussed about that extraction of highly reactive metal, and then what is a corrosion, what is a thermit reaction, what is an alloy. These are the topic which we covered today. In previous class we discussed about that what is an ore, minerals, gangue, and then how we extract that low reactive metals and then medium reactive metals. Okay, that is in previous classes to reduce the metal oxide to reduce metal oxides to metals. So what we use a carbon or coke, so that say for example zinc oxide we take that in previous class, that's to remove it we use the that is to reduce that metal to that's carbon is we use, that is zinc and carbon monoxide. Now in some situation what we do it, the highly reactive metals we take to displace that low reactive, that is displacement reaction we called as a displacement reaction, which you already learnt in the first chapter, beginning chapter. What is displacement reaction means that in these reactions the highly reactive metal displaces the low reactive metals. In some situations to reduce that metal oxides we use highly reactive metals. Okay, so in these reactions we use thermit reaction also, it comes under this thermit reaction. What is the thermit reactions, which is most important and so many times asked in that examination? So that the reaction of iron oxide, that's we read right here iron 3. Iron 3 means that is iron oxide, that is ferric oxide. What is the formula of ferric oxides? Fe2O3. We use here ferric, that's why it's we write here iron 3. Okay, with aluminium, so used in which is used in to join railway tracks, railway tracks or cracked machinery parts, cracked machine parts. Okay, this is called as a thermit reaction. Okay, the reaction of iron oxides with aluminium, which is used in join railway tracks or cracked machinery parts, called as thermit reactions. So in this examination they ask the definition, you write then, and where it is used, it's used in to join railway tracks or cracked machine parts, and write the related equations. You write down this equation also, that's Fe2O3, that ferric oxide and then aluminium. So here what's the product is formed? Aluminium oxide, and separated that iron. Why? Because aluminum is a highly reactive than the iron, that's why it displaces that iron. Okay, so we balance it this equation also, that's we put here 2 and here 2. This is called as a thermit reaction equation and definition, and where it is used. If asked in the examination you write three the things. Okay, now we go to that how we extract that highly reactive metal. Okay, extraction of highly reactive metal, highly reactive metal. So you know that which is the highly reactive metals, like potassium, sodium. These are all the highly reactive metals. How we extract it? By the process of electrolysis or electrolytic refining or electrolysis process. Okay, electrolytic refining or electrolysis process we called also. So what is electrolytic refining? We write down the definition also important, that the passing the current, on passing the current through the electrolyte, through the electrolyte, the pure metal from the anode dissolved from the anode dissolves into the electrolyte, an equivalent amount of pure metal from the electrolyte is deposited on the cathode. That pure metal deposited on the cathode and impure deposited in the anode. Okay, say for example, we taken by the help of the diagram. So we take the diagram here. So we taken that a tank. In the tank we fill that electrolyte solution. Okay, and we dip two electrodes we dipped inside that electrolytic refining solution, so that that electrodes is connected to in a wire, so that's and a battery and a plug key. And these are another end is connected to another rod. Okay, so like this we arrange this electrolysis process. So when the plug key is on, we take, say for example, we take here NaCl solution, because sodium is a highly reactive metal. To separate it cannot easily separate it from that chlorine, because that chemical bonding is more, that's why its force of attraction is more, that's why we cannot easily separate it. So by the help of that electrolysis process we can easily separate it. Then we say this is a solution of NaCl. When current is passed in the electrodes, that's in the tank, which is consist of NaCl solution, so that this is called as a anode. The positive side is called as a anode and negative side is called as a cathode. Okay, in anode always deposited a impure metal, and then in cathode always deposited a pure metal. Okay, see, we have taken NaCl, you write like this also equation: at cathode Na plus plus E minus, it gives Na. Okay, it gain one electrons, that's why it is sodium is at anode. I already told you that anode impure metals is there, that's anode. So that's impure non-metal is there, that's Cl minus gives Cl2 plus 2E minus. So to balance it, that's 2 is comes. So because it its gain 2, that is electrons, or it losses here. So write down like this in anode, and you write down in cathode is this. Like this, in pure metal which is deposited, that sodium is deposited here, and in impure, that anode is, that's chlorine is deposited. That in the solution, if impurities is there, so that deposit at the corner of that anode, so that's, so it's called as a anode mud. It's called as a anode mud. Okay, this is a, and you take more examples given for electrolysis process. That is, you take also copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solutions, where the copper is deposited. If we take the copper sulfate solution here, where the copper is deposited, and the copper is deposited in that cathode side, because it's pure metal we get, and the impurities is deposited in the anode. Okay, that sulfate is, okay, right like this also. Okay, now we go to the discuss about that corrosion. What is it? Corrosion. You know the definitions in the previous class. That's in the beginning chapter, first chapter. I told you what is a corrosion, and the substance, that metal, which is a substance attacked by the moistures or acids, that is called as a corrode, and that process is called as a corrosion. Okay, so example of corrosion is silver articles become black when exposed to air. When exposed to air after some time, why it become black? Silver is a low reactive metal. Even though it affect it appears black when exposed to air. Why? What's the reason behind that? So that answer is because the silver articles become black when exposed to air, because it reacts with sulfur which is present in the air. The sulfur, it reacts with sulfur which is present in the air to form a coating called as a silver sulfide. Okay, so that's why it's become a black. It reacts with the sulfur and the coating formation, that silver sulfide is formation. That's why the silver become black after exposed to air. Okay, so you write down that equation also, that is silver Ag plus H2S hydrogen sulfide, which is present in that air. Generally that sulfur product is there. So what's the formation? That is silver sulfide is formation, the hydrogen gases releases. So this is also equation is important. As the same way that copper, second is that copper reacts with moist carbon dioxide. With moist carbon dioxide in air, it loses its color in the air and slowly loses its shiny brown in color. Shiny brown color. Why it loses shiny brown color when exposed to that carbon dioxide? Because copper color is brown, very shiny brown in color. When it is react with a moist carbon dioxide, it forms a substance called as a green coat substance called as a copper carbonate. That's why it is on the surface of the copper vessels a green coated is appears after then reacts with moisture carbon dioxide. Okay, so that green coat is called as a copper carbonate. Okay, a green coat is formed on copper called copper carbonate. This is also important. Why is copper become a green coat is formed? So give reason. That's because copper reacts with moist carbon dioxide in the air and slowly it loses its shiny brown. That green coat is called as a copper carbonate. Okay, this is that one of that another example of corrosion. And you take that rusting of iron also, you take that example. Rusting of iron, I already told you that in the beginning chapter, that is also a example of corrosion. Okay, these are that some of the example of corrosion. Okay, if you write this equation also, you can write here, that's copper plus oxygen plus water plus carbon dioxide. Moist carbon dioxide means which is present water also, oxygen also, and then copper. Okay, these are we get from the air. Okay, next what's the product is formed? Copper carbonate with copper hydroxide formations. Okay, This is the equation, which is the most important equation also. This is also okay. Next, we discussed about that topic is prevention of corrosion. How we prevent that corrosion. Prevention of corrosion. What is prevention of corrosion? So it's how we prevent it, that corrosion. Very simple, that by painting, by oiling, or by greasing, or by galvanizing, or chrome plating, or by anodizing, or making alloys. These are the methods which is prevention of corrosion of iron also. Iron articles, to prevent that rusting of iron, what we do it, we use to the iron articles become painting, or by oiling, or by we do greasing, or by galvanizing, chromium plating, or anodizing, or making alloys. By these methods we can prevent that corrosion of some such a metals. Then now, what is that galvanizing here? What is the galvanization or galvanizing? It's very simple. Galvanization means zinc layer coated on iron article, called as a galvanization. Okay, a thin layer of zinc coated in iron. Okay, thin layer of zinc coated on and called as a galvanization. Okay, next, anodizing. I already told you that in aluminium, that a layer of oxides is formation, that is called as an anodizing. And chromium plating, you know that chromium is plated on the iron articles to prevent from corrosion. Say for example, rims of wheels of cycle. Okay, that in some parts of automobiles like bus or car, that steel color दिखा देता है, that is it's not a steel but it is a chromium plating. And some parts of that doors, okay, that is also made up of iron, but we are coating a chromium plating. Okay, now we go to that what is alloying. What is an alloy? Importantly, in ask in this year, that's it is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals, or a metal and a non-metal, called as a alloy. Alloy means it's a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals, or a metal and a non-metal, called as a alloy. Say for example of that alloy is stainless steel. Stainless steel. Okay, so it is an example of an alloy. And we take a second is brass, and then bronze, and then solder. So these are that some examples of an alloy. We what that product, that contents present in that stainless steel, so that is also important. I write down all the things which is asked in this 2020 examination. That's mainly iron, nickel, chromium, and then carbon also. the four components are used to make a stainless steel. That's iron, nickel, chromium, and carbon, which is most important. That's asked in this year examination. Okay. Where we used to make in the utensils. So in the kitchen, we so many utensils are used. So stainless steel. Okay, blade also, that is stainless steel. So these are the components are used to make in stainless steels. And then brass, the which one is used to make that brass, that's copper and zinc. Copper and zinc brass, which is generally very we used to make that statues, models, and bells. Okay, that is the use of that brass, and you write down the uses also. Okay, making that statues, models, or bells. Now what is the bronze? That's copper plus tin. Copper and tin. What is the symbol of tin? Sn. These two components are used, that metals are used to make a bronze, which is used as a medals, to make a medals and model statues. That's also used bronze. Okay, and then solder, the solder for making the soldering, so which we use that metals, that is lead and tin. So what is the symbol of lead? That is Pb plus tin Sn. Okay, these are that some examples of alloy, and soldering is used for soldering purpose. Okay, next in the one of the topic is that amalgam. What is an amalgam? That is very simple. If one of the metals is mercury, then the alloy is known as amalgam. If one of the metals is mercury, then the alloy is called as a amalgam. Say for example, I already told in the low reactive metal, that is Hg, cinnabar is a example of amalgam, because here mercury is an ore, and then this is mercury oxide is also a example of an amalgam. Okay, this is amalgam and alloy, just and examples, which is most important. Okay, this is the end of the chapter, and in the next we take that new chapter. Okay, and do notes and question answers, and then in text questions, all that prepare in your notes properly. Okay, thank you.